We're still in 16 by 9. I will never not be excited that I figured it out. I've been trying to do that for weeks. But I have seen recently the aftermath of some sort of... I don't remember the creator's name. I should have done that before I looked on this. But it was just a short where it was like, oh, and after this tournament, I'm changing my tier list for this tournament. And it was the tournament that he ran... no primary fire, so you just weren't allowed to use your primary fire. I was like, oh, that's such a stupid, silly idea. It's just a silly little tournament. So here's a few that I want to do, and this is my favorite, right? My favorite, and the one that I wish I had the outreach and the ability to put this together and actually run this tournament. Not for money or anything, but just for pride, you know? And no movement tourney. I want somebody to run a tournament where you are not allowed to move. Let me explain. The W, A, S, and D buttons on your keyboard, banned. Spacebar, banned. Everything else, that's fair game. I think that's a stupid and a silly tournament, because you might think, oh, well, characters like Punisher are going to be overpowered because you just stand there and he just mows you down. You'd be correct. But have you thought about, you can't get to spawn. You can't get out of spawn. And you can't move. Now, Punisher might be overpowered. You'd have to run it with bans, because Punisher would probably be overpowered because he has the shotgun and his AR. But if you think about it, characters like Thing and Thor are probably your top two tanks. Penny as a third, because Penny has movement. Not only does Penny have movement, she provides overshield to people. She can spin, throw a web to somebody standing still. Or she can spin and grapple to a web. She can move very fast on different elevations. Thor can also move, but his is tied to a resource and a cooldown. But if you think about that, well, he also displaces people. And in a tournament where you can't do that, crazy. Thing has movement on his E, his F, his right click, and if you're running Human Torch, that also moves you without pressing any of your movement keys. I think it'd be a really fun, stupid tournament where just whatever goes. Because characters like Spider-Man as well, top tier. Webs move you without you having to press any buttons, and then on top of that, if people can't move out of your combos, well, then your combos become overpowered, right? Because they can't realistically move out of it. Most of the people in the game, I would say. The only problem I have with this is it would make Elsa overpowered, I think. Elsa would probably be the best because of that 2-second dash. But since you can't press any of them, she always has to dash forward, which is a little bit better. Oh, Thing can also move with his shift, but only in a straight line, because you can't change the direction with the WASD keys, right? You can use things like Spider-Man double jump and Invis double jump, but only if you're using the double jump and not the original jump. I think it's a really silly idea. But more importantly, back to Spider-Man, people can't move out of your combos. You're one of the few characters who gets free reign as if you were moving normally. You have a long distance web attack, even though it's not fair. You can move other people, which is also going to be insane. And then on that, because I went back and reiterated what I did before instead of actually expounding upon something I was going to do, supports. There it is. The only supports that are viable are Loki, maybe. You might be able to say he is. I don't think he would be. Gambit for sure, because Gambit actually gets to move. And then I think Adam actually might be top tier because of his new flight mode. I think, yeah. That's insane. And then for flyers, you can obviously use space and control to adjust. Actually, no. You can't use space and control to adjust your elevation if you're playing a flyer. The only flyer who's viable is Iron Man, because I'm pretty sure that his shift, his dash, moves you without doing it. Human Torch is only viable with thing, because the only way you get free flight is when you're using that team up. Otherwise, it's just the slam straight down. But I think the thing Human Torch combo, it would be insane. Especially since it shuts off movement abilities, which means they just have to stand there and take it. They can't even move away. But yeah, that's my first. I think I've got 3 here. 3 just stupid, silly tournaments that I want to see. That's the first one. Really, really want to do that if I can ever find a way to do it. Otherwise, I might just see if you guys or other people can contact, like TDT. I see he does similar things, so maybe I could get him to do something like that just out of the fun of the game. But the next up, random character tournaments. So there was a few ways that I thought about doing this. 3 in particular. My original idea was it's a random character. You get a list of 6 random characters, randomly generated. It's not in any specific comp, right? And one person on your team has to play each one. All 6 have to be in play on your team. You cannot swap. And then the other enemy team gets 6 random characters every round. So it's like comp. You each play 1 round on the convoy map, and then in domination, each map of those, you get a new roster of 6. That way it's not just whoever gets the better team at the beginning of the tournament wins the entire tournament. But then I was like, oh, what if the team has no tanks or no supports, only 1 support? I guess in the new game mode, where you can have as many heroes of the same type as you want, maybe those are the 6, and then not all of them have to be in play. You can double up on whatever ones you want. Maybe you all play the same guy or not. And I was like, well, but that would still make it kind of unbalanced, because what if your team's just not as good as theirs? You get Widow and they don't. Like, that puts you at a disadvantage already. Then fine. What if it's 1 to 4 random characters that are drawn out of the hat, and everybody playing has to play one of those 4 characters? But then it's just a clone rumble tournament, and I think that's kind of boring because it's already in the game. It'd be pretty fun though. I would see it. I would tune in to watch it. I think for the last tournament idea, compete to lose. Now this is interesting, because you want to lose. You would have to have a lot of silly rules, like you must leave your spawn, you can't purposely jump off the map, things like that. So you could run Spider-Man Squirrel Girl, and you could drag somebody onto the point with Spider-Man because you want them to capture point. So you drag them onto the point, and then Squirrel Girl stun them so they have to stay there, and then Squirrel Girl stun again. So that way they capture as much of the point as possible, and you're trying to force them to capture point, and they're trying to stay off the point. But I don't know, on convoy or convergence and domination, I think domination would be the only way you can do that, because you're trying to force the other team to capture it, and like after 3 minutes, whoever has the most percentage wins, and you just end it, because those can go on forever, I'm pretty sure, if nobody captures. I don't know. I just had a few little silly ideas up here of things that if I had bigger outreach or even a bigger community to do a tournament with, I would like to see done. So yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow, because today's Wednesday. Wet Willy.